What's up, guys? Bang, bang. Very excited to be here. I've got Hyder, Pierce, and Shrinu. I thought a great place that maybe we could get started. If each one of you could just introduce yourselves and your organization, and then we'll get into some current events. There's a plethora of things that we can talk about, but maybe Hyder, we'll start with you. Quick intro on you and the organization.
Thanks, Pomp. I am Hyder. My role here at OKX, which is the second largest exchange global, is to run marketing. And I do that across all regions here around the world. Thank you.
Pierce?
Yeah, nice to see you guys. Pierce, I run kind of global market strategy for TradingView as the general manager. TradingView, I'm pretty sure everybody knows about, but we built some fancy charts.
And Shrinu?
Hey everyone, thanks for attending the live EMA. So Srinu Chauhan, I'm the CMO at 3Commas. 3Commas is basically like the largest crypto automation trading bots platform. So all the users who use like Binance, Kraken, OKX, all the exchanges, they basically connect through our platform, connect and use all the bots. So yeah, like I look after all the marketing side of things as well.
Awesome. I think the best place to get started is there's a lot of things going on in the crypto industry. Maybe if each of you could kind of just share your thoughts in terms of how do you evaluate what's happening? How do you think about positive and negative developments? And then also maybe, are you changing anything given kind of some of the situations that have played out over the last week or so at your organizations? And Shrinu, maybe we'll kind of go in reverse order. You go first.
Cool. So, I mean, if you talk about the most recent event, obviously, like, we cannot ignore the fact, on what has happened between the, FTX and the entire saga with like Binance and all that. I'm sure we will go into those current market discussions a bit more in depth. But for us, what matters the most is to kind of work with our customers, especially our users, because most of them are like pro traders, to kind of help them, the bot strategies in such a way that they are always set to make gains or profits irrespective of the market condition, right? So right now everything is going down obviously, but if you use the automation bots and use some short strategy, that will help you kind of increase your revenues as well. So we've seen a lot of trading volume going through our side. To give you some estimation of the numbers, in the last 24 hours, we have seen close to $800 million trading volume happening from our platform, and typically we do about like dollars, on an average annually. So that's very specific to our platform and our users. Moving beyond that, there's a lot of things happening, right? So in terms of developments, and this is something I think CZ also kind of highlighted, and Anthony, you were mentioning just during our chat earlier. I think regulation is something that is must in this industry, but not to an extent that it kind of armed with exchanges and all these users, but to an extent where it allows certain innovation to grow, but at the same time kind of put some checks and balances in place, right? Without that, there is no sense of accountability for exchanges, both on centralized exchanges primarily. Exchanges by nature or by definition, they are not tied to or they don't need to be kind of regulated in that sense, but there should be still certain amount of visibility for users of whether their funds are secure and safe enough, all of these other options that's coming along, right? So there are quite a lot of we are seeing. Apart from that, just as an extension as well, right? So we have a product that is catered to the centralized. We also have another product called 3Commas, which is catered to the decentralized exchanges, which again kind of automates a lot of strategies as well. So these are like my high-level notes, but yeah, we can go through the table as well.
Awesome. Pierce, what do you think?
I'm just vibing on the memes. But in terms of our business overall, I mean, we're very much a risk-averse company by our nature, right? So we feel a little bit left out of the party, I guess. So I mean, TradingView is obviously not related to any kind of exchange or cryptocurrency trading in general. So we're very de-risked in that sense versus some of the other players. But obviously, we work with everybody, so I mean, none of this is good for the industry overall. It's broadly speaking a net negative. We've done our best to be supportive. Obviously, not much we can really do is just being kind of the front end provider in the space, but rather, the best thing that I think I've been able to do in the past few days is obviously just connecting folks when it's helpful. There's been a lot of conversations that have gone on in the last 48 hours that are obviously not even expected. And so, broadly speaking, best thing to do is, be supportive. But overall, I think the events of the last 24 hours are pretty shocking to everybody. I'd say that the most important, I think, concern on my side is just the reputational risk for the space overall. Notably speaking, I think that we all thought of, the FTX team as being very, very savvy in general and very much like a good brand ambassador for whether it's regulation in DC or a lot of other kind of, forward-thinking initiatives that they've been working on. And so I've been a supporter for a long time, but and so this comes pretty much out of nowhere and obviously opens up a larger can of worms, which is, again, systemic risk, ultimately risk management overall, as well as, how much time is being spent on thinking about, the correlation of asset prices with various books and ultimately contagion risk, which, continues to be at the forefront, I think, of a lot of these conversations due to the fact that turns out everybody's lending to everybody, at least in some way, shape, or form. And that's actually probably not a good thing for the industry overall.
Yeah, that makes sense. Hyder, what about yourself?
A lot of what Pierre said, I think it's quite remarkably shocking that we are experiencing this, and it's not good for anyone. It's not good for the industry. We definitely don't want to see FTX go through this. The last 48 hours for OKX were quite interesting, and we had to make some really big decisions. One of those decisions was to pass on the possibility of us being part of that deal. Sam had reached out to our team. I believe in some ways we were reached out before CZ, and we passed on it and recommended that Sam works with CZ to see if there's a way out here in regards to the FTT liquidation. For us, the reason why we passed and the reason why we didn't share this, I'm sharing this with you first, but we are speaking to other public sources about this matter today. The reason why I'm sharing now is we realized last night that part of our hesitation to not go public was we didn't want to further negatively impact the FTT price drop. Had we gone out, could it have impacted the price? And we just didn't want to be part of that. But given that the price is, quite low at this point, we figured, hey, sharing it in public and why we passed on the decision is probably important for the industry to know. And our position on this, the reason for the pass, is our philosophy as a company is we are a technology company. We're not a crypto finance company. We're not in the business of trading balance sheets. We want to build products. We want to build features with teams like TradingView and 3Commas, where there's that help investors enter these markets in a very responsible way. So that's, it is, like I said, I want to wrap it up with, it's quite shocking. It's unfortunate. We like the guys and the team at FTX. They've done an incredible job over the last few years, and it's such a bummer that they're in this position and the industry at large has to really have an inflection point and think about how to think about the lending side of business or DeFi in general.
So obviously the three of you are all here. You have various different relationships, partnerships, different product integrations. Maybe talk a little bit as to how you see these three businesses coming together and collaborating in an industry where, I think, Pierce, you mentioned there is tons of collaboration. Sometimes that's viewed in hindsight as a positive. Sometimes that's viewed as a negative. How do the three businesses here work together, and kind of why do you guys do that? What are the positive impacts that you're hoping to capture from collaboration?
I mean, I think in general, and again, I speak from obviously the opinion of TradingView and why we're so kind of open-ended in for the industry overall. Our kind of competitive advantage is we've always been heavily focused on building really responsive tools for traders. And what we've come to realize is platforms like OKX or 3Commas for various reasons, and we're ultimately not going to be able to do everything. And so if we can actually empower the individual investor, whether they're on OKX, 3Commas, or TradingView.com, it really doesn't matter to us as much as it used to. I think philosophy-wise, we've kind of shifted perspective on that. And, it makes a lot more sense these days to just, power every platform we can, rather than being kind of like this walled garden where nobody can get access. I think that's kind of where we sit now. And so OKX has been very forward thinking, I think, in this philosophy as well. Obviously, reaching out and, having a very active kind of investment strategy from, kind of like a venture perspective, but also, being very scrappy with new partnerships and new deals around the globe. So we're big fans of their kind of business overall, and in general, we're not in the trade automation game as well, right? So we know what we do well, and we're like super narrowly focused on that. We have no ambitions to kind of go outside of the box we live in. And so when it comes to trade automation and platform providers like 3Commas, generally speaking, I think that what they do in the industry is super helpful for folks who ultimately want these kind of automated strategies and a lot of simplification to, previously, what would obviously be kind of like a point and click game, in this kind of world where market makers rule the majority of volume trading. The more you can do to automate what you do, and trade by kind of a rules-based model, makes a lot of sense. Definitely, there's a big value there, but for sure, it's something that is not in our DNA. That's for sure.
That makes sense. Srinu, what about from your perspective in terms of collaboration?
On top of what Pierce mentioned, right? So a lot of our users, if you look at it, like ultimately they are trying to jobs to be done, right? So they are trying to get a job to be done, which is using trading as a strategy, but to make profits ultimately, right? So they do it is the key, right? So they can use TradingView to do all their analysis, and then go to 3Commas, connect OKX exchanges like OKX and run their strategies, and then try and automate their strategies as well to experience the profits. So when 3Commas started, it started with a vision of empowering an individual to experience the financial freedom, so that we fundamentally kind of bridge the gap between the top 1% and remaining 99, kind of help them earn an alternate source of income that kind of eventually, with the hope that it becomes like a primary source of income and they kind of become financially free, right? And in that process, we chose crypto trading automation bots, because there's no other market as crypto, obviously, and kind of bots does this job effectively, removing all the emotions and everything else out of the equation, and dedicatedly helping you to optimize your trading strategies to increase your profits. Now, in that sense, for us, it's ideal that three of us, TradingView, OKX, and us, we are kind of doing what we are doing best in our business. So it becomes quite natural for us to align and kind of work towards pushing the users to use all these platforms in coherence to kind of have this better towards financial freedom in that sense.
That makes sense. And Haider, maybe you can talk a little bit about kind of the OKX marketing strategy. I think one of the things that's interesting, right, is all three of you have taken different but effective strategies to marketing. And so, Haider, we'll start with you in terms of just like, what are you seeing being effective? What are you seeing not being effective? And where are you guys going to focus towards the end of the year and into next year?
We have been on the fortunate side of history, where last year, when there was a lot of deployment of marketing dollars across partnerships and other venues, we chose to hold back. And the thinking for why we held back in many ways is run and the market is ripping. We think it's often more important to be cautious about how aggressively you market, because if you aggressively market, there are people over the fence that have been historically looking, and now they jump over without being fully equipped to enter the markets, and a high probability of them losing their shirt. So we held back for that main reason. And going into this year, when prices started to pull back, our thinking was now is the right time for us to convince the world they should come in and enter and start to open up a position. whatever asset type they'd like to start that with. I think that will be our continued strategy. We think in times of volatility and uncertainty, it's important for the larger venues with a good cash flow to invest in marketing aggressively, because it goes back to the reputational risk that Pierce even was mentioning earlier. With everything that's going on in the last 48 hours, you can imagine the folks on the traditional side, on the equity side, they're probably looking at us and saying, ah, told you so. This is going to bust. And that's not true. All of us working in this industry realize that there's really great capital structures across many companies. They're very healthy balance sheets. And these cases will happen. They happen on the equity side and traditional side. No one is, I don't think any industry you can skip this type of experience. It's unfortunate, but this is part of our marketing strategy, which is, hey, let's use our dollars not only to acquire responsible people on our platform, but also to some degree protect the reputation of the industry. Because if we don't throw big dollars now, people will think, well, it was just a fad and it was seasonal.
That makes sense. Pierce, what about yourself? How is TradingView thinking about kind of marketing, given especially that, as you said earlier, like you guys kind of know what you do and don't do. It's something where people always need charts. So how do you think about kind of market cycles and kind of what's working and what's not?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. It's definitely been incredible to see the last couple of years and how many dollars can be deployed for what I would consider to be very, very flashy versus strategic marketing positionings. TradingView, to date hasn't bought a team or kind of bought a stadium, things like this. I mean, these are in a lot of cases actually done with profits and proceeds. That either founders take home themselves or may not be on the balance sheet, so totally their discretion to do so. But when I see some of these kind of larger plays in the crypto space, buying arenas and things like this, it is for sure a question for me as to what's the long-term effect there. I think there's a lot of value in kind of establishing a brand for a long period of time, but the numbers that are being thrown around, I mean. Again, we're not an exchange, so we don't really know so much how it works from a business perspective in terms of the amount of money printing that's actually going on. But broadly speaking, it never made sense to us financially to consider these kind of more aggressive marketing strategies. And so we've been very, very cognizant as to what others are doing, but ultimately, again, we've taken the route which is we're really a utility, right? I mean, we just want to be kind of a function of market participants' needs, and thus, people will find TradingView charts one way or the other, and that's actually kind of a great marketing strategy in itself, right? Lead by example. I mean, we really have an insane product, and that's really kind of our best marketing strategy we can deploy. And over time, right? I mean, people will end up finding TradingView in some small shape or form. I mean, if you go to whether it's ftx.com or Binance.com, both of them use our charting libraries, and so in some small way, right, that gets our name out there, and that's been a kind of marketing tactic, if you will. But in terms of our marketing team overall, I mean, we really don't even have a marketing team. We have an insanely powerful product team. We have more than 15 different product managers, over 300 engineers, but we really don't have like a specific paid marketing or growth marketing team, and that's because we think for the most part, basically we can move our product into a position of actually leading the forefront, rather than us kind of purchasing arena rights or I love some of these. Like, I mean, for me, I'm like a baseball fan. Like the idea that you could buy the umpires or the umpires kind of like front branded logo, like that's actually, I think it's a great hack. Like a lot of these are really cool, but I think some of them were definitely a little bit like over the top, if you will. So I definitely saw some that are I had a lot of FOMO for sure. But again, our strategy is let's save the dollars and cents for reinvesting in product, and that's kind of where we've been focused for the most part.
Got it. And Srinu, what about yourself?
I mean, kind of on the similar lines to TradingView as well. So 3Commas has been growing over the last pretty much product-driven growth, right? And in my view, that's like the best sort of a growth strategy that a company can follow, because that shows that there's strong product market fit, and people see a value in the platform, and that kind of organically grows. However, the company has realized that in order to get to the next mass set of users, to get like widespread adoption of crypto trading bots, we need to pivot the product. At the same time, we need to make sure that the product is heard and like kind of used by a lot of users as well. So that's where marketing kind of comes in. To give you a bit, so 70% of our users make profits in the first 30 days of signing up to the platform, which is really, really good, right? So that kind of shows strong value of the product. But then we want to also kind of shift more towards educating a lot of people, and kind of get through that. And strategy, we also look at like external macro factors in terms of bear versus bull market, which Heather kind of touched upon. Unfortunately, there are more pro advanced trading users. So for them, we need to appeal in certain way, right? So during the bull market, we kind of go aggressive, and during the bear market, we find approach the users who are at the bottom of the funnel and try and convert them, and drive from the existing users rather than going aggressively after the new users, because it again takes a lot of time and energy for us to educate the new users and go through all the process, and kind of make it kind of fun. We've also got on board TJ Miller. We've recently, in fact, just last week, we launched a lot of video crypto trading educational series. So basically, he went and created his own scripts, and he went crazy. In fact, in terms of coming up with a really nice series of videos. So there were actually funny comments around some of the users saying that these videos are so funny that it's one of the best contents they have seen, better than Netflix in the last 6 months or so. So yeah, like I would encourage people to kind of go ahead and watch these videos and have fun, and also start trading in that aspect.
Awesome. Haider, maybe we'll have one more question for you before we get to questions from the audience. Anyone who's watching this, just leave your questions in the chat, and we'll curate some of the best ones. But Haider, you guys have started to do some of the more aggressive marketing campaigns as you're describing. Talk a little bit as to where you're seeing success there. What's the thought process in terms of how you decide what to do and what not to do, and kind of how you guys look at that moving forward?
I want to build up on what Srinu said. Education is a really big part of our marketing strategy. But every company is in a slightly different stage. For us, we are the second largest by trading volume in the world for crypto markets. And, we have a really healthy balance sheet. And coming into this year, we realized we wanted to invest very thoughtfully in grabbing more global market share. And so, as you know, Pomp, we rebranded our company in January. And when we rebranded, we said, look, we need to make some investments, brand investments that help our platform, our brand, what we're about, get to the global stage in the most accelerated way possible. And for that, we went on a shopping spree and tried to find the partners that could help us do that. And so we picked up Manchester City football team, we're their primary crypto exchange partner. We picked up McLaren Formula One team, and yes, I don't like your hat, Pomp. And then we also picked up Tribeca Film Festival presenting rights. And all of these three partnerships, in combination of some of the brand ads digitally that we're running, some of the performance ads and the growth marketing efforts that we have, are all to put our brand in front of the global markets and build on that market share outside Asia. We're seeing a lot of success this year, but it's headwinds when you're doing this in the bear market. And for us, character is more important than anything. We want people to know what we are and what we're about, what we stand for. And so we're one of the first exchanges in every piece of work, without any regulator ask or what have you. We put trade responsibly at the very end. And we are working with our brand partners to bring that to life, let people understand what that really means, because that's important for an investor, that's important for a day trader advantage. We all need to sort of think very responsibly, not go take 10x margin and turn it into sort of a betting habit. It's something that you should we want people to learn from these athletes, the discipline, the education, the training that they have, and bring that over in their trading journey. Because if you're training really hard and you're disciplined just like an athlete, we believe you can do really well in the crypto markets.
Makes sense. All right, we got some questions from the audience here. I'm just going to kind of rattle it off and hopefully throw it to the person I think that they're trying to ask it to. So first one, Pierce, for you, TradingView. Are you guys planning to stay around forever? I hope, because you really have no real competition in the market. Also, excellent customer support. So yeah, Pierce, are you guys going to be around forever?
Yeah, no, we're actually sunsetting the whole company in 2 days. So definitely, it's been nice knowing you and
Download your charts.
Working our way out the door. Download your charts while you have the chance. No, I mean, in terms of, it's actually crazy. People don't understand that TradingView's been around for 10 years. The company was actually founded in Chicago in 2012. Did Techstars Chicago, literally just like a normal accelerator company. But 2012, I mean, it was like the dark ages, pretty much before many crypto companies even existed, let alone had the idea that crypto was even a product you could invest in. So we've been very, very slowly and steadily gaining market share. And broadly speaking, I mean, we are very well known in the crypto industry, but for those who don't know, I mean, we're also very well known in the equities world and the FX world and the futures world as well. And so we are glad to keep kind of pushing the envelope on all those. And I'm always glad that people still think like, TradingView, it's not that big a deal, but it's always good for me. It's because it's very humbling. Like, I think that we still have a long ways to go, and we only have a few, I mean, more than 1 million paying customers, but I think we can do a lot more. So I'm always glad for people who don't think that we'll be around for a long time. But yeah, I mean, we're trying to build a very durable business. Again, more of a utility than anything.
I love it. All right, Haider, this is there's a couple here. I'm going to try to combine them. The first is OKX available in the US yet? And then the second is to compete with the likes of Bybit, you need to list more trading pairs. I think you could have a great niche to fill with derivatives. Hope you're planning to expand it. Also plans for OKX cards. Maybe OKX available in the US, and then also plans for an OKX card.
So great, what great questions. First off, OKX is available in the US. So we have two distinct parts of our product. We have a CeFi exchange. That exchange is not available in the US. What is available in the US is the Web3 ecosystem. So what we have is a decentralized, self-custody, self-hosted wallet. This wallet gives you access to our native NFT marketplace, a DEX aggregator, a dApp search engine, and all these services are available to people in the United States. Now, when it comes to listings, we are we try to be as aggressive and responsible as we can about listings. So I encourage this person to please tweet at us, give us the ideas of which pairs, which derivatives we should consider listing, and I think our team will evaluate quite rapidly and try to list. And thanks for that tip. I think there was a part 3 to that question, right?
The OKX card, OKX,
yes,
available in the US, and then also we're just more trading pairs.
Yeah, so with the OKX card, we're quite excited. We are working on an OKX card, but our philosophy on cards has been, we don't want to just do another card that gives you access to all your crypto balance and then you go buy pizza with Bitcoin and hate yourself in 10 years. What we want to do is configure a card that gives you access to your assets, but there's probably a seamless way for you to convert really quickly to a stable asset and then use that stable asset on a day-to-day basis for transactions and earn rewards with us, rewards that you can then use on our exchange for waiving trading fees or doing things. So that's our philosophy on cards. I think people should really expect that we're going to release something probably like March or April of next year with a rather big partnership and a big partner to come along with us.
Got it. There's another question here that says, Haider mentioned decentralization on Twitter yesterday. Could he speak more to the importance of decentralization in crypto, especially in light of the last 48 hours? And maybe Haider, you do that first, and then Srinu, you can talk a little bit about centralization and decentralization when it comes to trading also.
I think for us at the company, if you speak to anyone, they will say, we realize we're a centralized exchange, but that doesn't mean we're in the business of constantly protecting our centralized business. We believe decentralization is really important. And so oftentimes we make decisions that feel counterintuitive to having a really massive marketing strategy, but we think it's in the pursuit of maintaining some level of decentralization in the industry and not building a monopoly, so to speak. So I think that was the reason why I tweeted that. It was in light of what was happening with the FTX saga.
Got it. Srinu, what about yourself? How do you guys think about centralization and decentralization?
Sure. Just going back to my earlier point, right? So 3Commas has essentially two different like products, and we actually have decent like a product dedicated for decentralized exchanges, and we are spinning off as a new company altogether, right? So on centralized exchange, as I mentioned, we pretty much connect to all the exchanges, and we are in a way like good enough position to kind of work with pretty much all the top exchanges, more than 18 plus exchanges across the world. So we can all users one they can have like one view across all the exchanges. They can run their strategies at the same time, so that saves them a lot of time and also like a lot of hassle to kind of like keeping track of their portfolio, etc., etc. So in the centralized exchanges, we work on both spots, futures, and all of automated, the bots takes care of everything on their own. On the decentralized exchange side, like Uniswap and other platforms, if you have to trade and if you want to arbitrage, or if you want to do any of these things in parallel at the same time, it's quite a lot of hassle, right? Which means obviously connect your MetaMask, but every time you need to switch to different platforms and kind of make use of this arbitrage, it's almost impossible. So our decentralized exchange platform called 3Commas does just that. It looks at the opportunities and kind of makes sure that you can run your multiple DEX platforms at the same time, which kind of gives you a lot more profitability in that sense as well. So initially as a small testing pilot project within the company, and it was so successful that we decided to kind of spin it off and let it run on its own. So very soon you will be hearing a lot more about DEX, decentralized exchange part of 3Commas, which is 3Commas.
Makes sense. There's another question here for Pierce and Srinu. It says, TradingView and 3Commas, what are something on the product roadmap that you're really excited about? Maybe Pierce, you go first.
Product updates and roadmap. So we're pretty tied to the chest in terms of like big launches. So I won't spill the beans or deploy too much alpha up front. But in terms of overall, I think what we're definitely going to see a lot more of coming into the beginning of next year is building a lot more analytics outside of charts themselves. And what we're known for is obviously our charting libraries, but we've started to realize types of data that are best to be displayed in other types of visualizations. So many people come to us for charts, time series graphs, it's things like that. But there's many cases when we can actually do much more deep dive analysis without potentially using that within a chart canvas. So that's probably the biggest departure, and I know it seems maybe a bit vague, but that is very much an area that we're exploring, and very much we'll have some launches coming into next year. Besides that, I would say the biggest probably the biggest kind of one-up when it comes to the product set overall would be, the number of data sets that we have on TradingView, and we now have over 250 unique data providers on TradingView. Each of those comes with their series of instruments, but a good example from OKX, we pull in data from OKX so that we have kind of spot and perpetuals and things like this for TradingView customers to see what markets are trading on for OKX. But in total instruments, I actually did the research just to check myself. We have about 650,000 unique instruments on TradingView now. So anything from macroeconomic data to fixed income data to rate curves to very much options volatility data, which we just got, it's brand new. Level 2 data for crypto in general. So like we have a lot of like on-chain metrics now. We're actually going to be launching NFT data quite soon as well. And so these are all kind of areas that we're basically filling in that blank space. When a lot of providers maybe specialize in one data set, again, we want to be kind of the everything store when it comes to market data and various data instruments. So I think that those are the two areas specifically that we're kind of expanding into quite quickly. And again, the more data, ultimately, the more information a customer has to make a better decision. And again, we're not super tied on people actually trading. So our goal is ultimately education first, and ultimately that's a lot of our focus as well.
Got it. Srinu, what about yourself in the product roadmap?
Yeah, so I mean, there are a lot of things going on in our platforms as well, and the platform is still evolving, right? So, but one of the things that our customers love about 3Commas is the speed of execution. So we generally gather a lot of customers' feedback almost on a bi-weekly basis, and adapt our product roadmap quite frequently, make sure we stay relevant, and then execute on the product features quite aggressively. In terms of long-term sort of a focus over the next year as well, there are two big parts to it, right? So one is our simplified version of the product, which is basically getting a user to sign up, set up their first trading bot, and start realizing profits immediately, right? So how can we build our product and the platform in such a way that user kind of goes through this or a wow experience as soon as possible? And then there is another extreme to the users who are like our early, the innovators, right, in the bell curve that you talk about. How can we make sure our product, our platform still stays relevant to our more advanced users, and kind of build these advanced features on the other extreme? So we are kind of stretching the product into two different sections and kind of pushing more toward like simplified platform. At the same time, we are also more complex features to appeal to our pro users at the same time. And to bridge all of this, we are also creating a marketplace. All the top traders, all their bot strategies that worked really well, we kind of showcase that. So users can see what are the top bots that has worked in the last 30 days. Typically they're like 30% returns, or 25 to 30% returns. They can click a button, copy that strategy, mention the amount they want to invest, like let's say $5,000, and then they start the bots, and that will take care of us. That way they know they've seen the historical performance of it, and they can automate everything on top of it. And to further enhance that marketplace, what we are also doing is encouraging a lot of developers to create a lot more new apps on top of our marketplace bots. So all the top signal providers share their strategies. So every time they are executing certain trades, since it's live, they can basically kind of push that signals back into the platform that executed as well. So we are encouraging a lot of developers to start building on top of it, and there are a lot of different use cases that's coming as well. For example, US tax claims, so actually tax filing on the crypto side of things. So one of our popular app is basically like to create this sort of a US tax filing sort of a thing, when all your crypto strategies or portfolio profits, everything is placed in one place, and that can be easily filed in an automated way. So there are a lot more use cases. We are encouraging a lot more developers to create this sort of an ecosystem. So that's like big on our roadmap for the next year.
Got it. And Haider, maybe we'll finish up with you in terms of what's on the product roadmap that you're excited about, or think that is worth people knowing about.
I think for us, there's going to be a lot of incremental innovation. I think there's going to be a lot of new listings, of course. That continues to be our focus. The integrations with TradingView and 3Commas are really important for our roadmap. I think you're going to see more and more investment with these two companies, where we can build utility, build access points, improve our access points on top of their platforms. I think the last piece that you can expect a lot more products coming out is our Web3 ecosystem. So I think there's a lot of work for us to do on our NFT marketplace, on our DEX, on the wallet itself. We, I think, are now roughly supporting 45 plus public chains as a wallet. I don't think there's any other self-hosted wallet that has that much support. And I think our goal by end of year is to go 55, plus public chains. So I think it's a lot of incremental innovation that you're going to continue to see. And then one area that is going to be a big area for us to bring to life is what we do with McLaren and Manchester City and Tribeca in terms of products. I think there's more product work that we've been working on in the background. That stuff starts to come out in 2023.
Got it. Where can we send everyone to find either you all on the internet or find more about the individual products themselves? Maybe Shrina, will start with you yourself, and also where they could sign up to use the product.
You all can go to and sign up on the platform. We have iOS and Android app as well, so you can sign up and connect to one of the exchanges and quickly get started easily, right? So that's on the platform, but we have Telegram, Discord, a lot of different channels as well. So our customer support is I've worked across a lot of industries, but it's safe to say that they are super responsive, and they are always readily available to answer to your questions immediately. So you can always reach out to them. The community itself is quite active as well. So if you want to get some learnings from other people, they are almost to 20,000 active Telegram users who always share different strategies, kind of share learnings, etc. So you can as well.
Awesome. Pierce?
Find me on Twitter. I'm always kind of shit posting or doing my best to keep up with the big dogs. So in terms of fine with the memes. No, in terms of, if you need help, obviously, reach out to us at TradingView. Our support team is pretty unparalleled for anything. But in terms of, tradingview.com, Twitter, Facebook, Telegram. Our Telegram channel is actually enormous, in fact. Nobody knows that. You can find us all over the web. Ultimately, we're super stoked on customer feedback. So anything you guys, want to come up with or requests, our product team is always ears to the ground. And again, much thanks for hosting.
Absolutely. And Haider, finish up with you. Where can they find you or find out more about OKX?
So to find me, pretty easy, Haider SF on Twitter. And to find us as a company, okx.com or OKX in any of your app stores. And I think at this point, we might be the only 3-letter exchange on top.
I love it. All right. I appreciate all three of you coming, sharing all of your insights. I appreciate everyone showing up to learn and watch, and we'll definitely do it again in the future. That's it for today, and I'll see everyone later.
Thanks, Pom.